Hey, what's up, my friends? Welcome back. It is JB Webb, and as usual, we have more talented people here to talk with and talk about. This installment brings us a poet, a photographer, a blogger, pretty prolific blogger here in Orlando because of his roots in poetry and open mic nights and all these things. It's Patrick Scott Barnes, and we're just going to welcome him to the call. How you doing, Patrick?
Alrighty, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for calling in, man. I appreciate your time.
Oh, no problem.
You're a busy guy. You're here and there. You started this awesome blog where you go out and kind of report live on all the stuff that goes down there in Orlando, the Milk District, everywhere. You're everywhere. So it's awesome to see that blog. But before that, I think it'd be cool to hear a little bit about your history. You kind of started out here as a poet in Orlando. A lot of people probably know you as a poet. So maybe give us a little, go back a few years and tell us how that all started and then kind of moved into what you're doing now.
Okay, I started reading poetry downtown.
Right.
At Sac Theater's old spot.
Okay.
It used to be on Church Street, and that's when this was way back in '91.
Yeah.
And they used to have a night called Bohemian Night, and that's where I used to start reading poetry.
Okay.
And later on, I started reading at Wall Street when it was a spot called it'll come to me, Yab Yum.
Oh, Yab Yum, yeah.
So that's where I started reading again. In all reality,
yeah,
I really hated reading there at first because people used to talk all the dang on time.
Right. Yeah.
But as time went on, I eventually started hosting a night there, and that was back in '95. And that was from 95 to 98 because they moved us next door to what was Go Lounge,
okay,
which is now called the Globe.
Right.
So I had been hosting for that long time there, and after 98, the poetry nights moved around until eventually it settled at Will's Pub back in '99.
Okay.
Now that same poetry night that I used to host then, that night is now hosted by a guy named Todd Cavanis. He writes for the Orlando Sentinel.
Oh, okay.
Now, yeah. So mostly people know me as a poet,
Right.
Because of me hosting poetry nights.
Right.
That's where that started. And I later branched off. The blogging didn't start until like 2006.
Okay.
I used to write blogs on like many other people, blog on MySpace.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started blogging off because MySpace got ridiculous, angered a lot of people, so I moved around until eventually I started using WordPress.com.
Right.
Now, the first thing I did on WordPress.com was a DJ blog that really did not, let's just say it wasn't attracting people that was really interested in DJing.
Right. There are people leaving mean comments and stuff.
Huh?
People were like leaving mean comments and stuff, or?
No, this is what was happening. I had, just for illustration purposes,
mm-hmm.
I had uploaded photos of women wearing bikinis.
Yeah, that sounds good.
And so what had happened, people weren't coming to the blog for like I say, for DJing. What happened was Google had registered those photos in its files or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's what people started coming to the blog for.
The pictures, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Google is the devil.
Hugh Hefner.
Anyway.
So it turns you into your innocent DJ blog into your Hugh Hefner, your Larry Flint now.
Yeah, that's basically what half the people were coming there for anyway.
I got you.
And so, but they did read the articles. I mean, yeah, they did read the articles, but a lot of times that wasn't what they were visiting the blog for.
Right. The pictures are just a bonus.
Now that, yeah. Now that blog I write here and there, it's called the DJ Stone Crazy Spot.
Yep. Okay.
I write there. I write on it every now and then, but I hadn't written on it in about maybe 2 or 3 months.
Okay.
Now the the current blog I have now, which has gone way beyond what I expected it to.
Yeah.
It's called the
Orlando
Culture Shock.
Right. Yeah. That's a great blog.
Yeah, thank you, man. Now, that's the one where I go around and photograph events, talk about bars,
Right.
and anything related to Orlando's nightlife and culture.
Yeah.
Now, that's the one that I'm really proud of because it got more views than anything I've ever put together as far as blogging goes.
Yeah. Well, I think you're doing a great job of going out to the scene, getting a good documentation of the scene and what happened and the people there. And, people like to read and hear about themselves, so that's definitely a win-win. I think, I myself enjoy reading your travels, like seeing where you're going. So you're taking us along with you, which is awesome. And I think your your transformation from it's open mic poetry to I'm doing this blog and then I'm doing this blog. You're almost like at the cusp of you're almost like a magazine yourself, like a poet, a digital journalist kind of a thing. So it's OrlandoCultureShock.com.
It's Orlando Culture Shock. Then you have to add the .wordpress.com.
Okay, I'll throw it up there. I'll throw this up on the video portion of this.
Okay.
And that's kind of your current thing and what you're doing now. And since you've been in Orlando for such a long time, you know a lot of the people, a lot of the players. I saw you out the other night at the Kimball Collins show at the Sandwich Bar, which just really solidifies that you know Orlando. You've been there.
Yeah.
You've been here for so long. Which is good. I think getting that kind of first-hand view from a seasoned vet, seasoned resident, makes it have more of an impact. Let's say. Plus, you're a big guy. You're a strong, big-looking guy, and you're carrying around a camera saying, "Let me take your picture." So people are like, "Oh, okay." Right? I mean, does that help? Or do you ever run into obstacles in any place? Not to slam anybody or anything like that, but do you ever have obstacles? Are people receiving it well as far as their pictures being out there and stuff like that?
As far as photos go, this is sometimes what I would run into.
Mm-hmm.
And this, let's just say I take someone's photo and I post it up on Facebook. Right. Every once in a while, someone would tell me, and it's usually women.
Right.
It would tell me, well, could you please take that photo down? That doesn't look flattering. And I can understand that.
Yeah.
Yet I don't get that often, no.
Yeah.
And it's something I want to tell people about photography.
Yeah.
There's this thing that people think that you need permission to photograph somebody if they're out in public. No, you don't.
Yeah, if they're in public,
you could.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could photograph. You could take, as long as the only thing you can get in trouble for is like if they're doing something in the privacy of their own home.
Right.
But if anybody tells you need a modeling permission or whatever, no, you can still photograph them.
Right. Right. Yeah, and that's they're out in public, so you're able to do that. So. With the success, I'm curious, do you are you still dabbling a little in poetry? Do you still write? Is that something you would see as maybe turning it into more of a blog or getting some stuff published, or what's your kind of goals or ideas around that?
Well, I do have a book of poetry that is available on Amazon.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's called the Butt Freak Blues. It's on Amazon.com.
Cool.
It's a collection of all the poetry, mostly poetry that I've written over the past, how long has it been? Since 90s?
Yeah, like 20 years.
Yeah, poetry dated back then and poetry that I recently written. I don't write it as much as I used to.
No.
Not because, I still write it, but not as like, and the main reason being, back then, poetry was like the only outlet that many people had.
Right.
I mean, there was no such thing as blogs, and the computers, right. The internet wasn't as available as it is now.
Right.
So, there's more ways to express myself now versus just me always writing poetry. That's why my interest isn't as much as it used to be.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I was just curious if it was something you kind of had some things kind of cached in your quivers, as it were. You had something stashed away for us that you were going to talk about or release out there. Because I know I write poetry too, and my younger poetry is a lot different than my older poetry, the more recent stuff. A lot of times people just do that as a healthy exercise.
Right.
Instead of, social, you don't go out, you don't do this or that, you don't talk to people. You got to be able to get that all out somehow, some way, shape, or form if you can't talk to another human being about it. So I actually think it's something that people should start doing more and more, and you can do it so much easier. You could give notes on your phone, and transcribe it later or what have you. So I don't think it's a dying art form. It's just kind of morphing into something else as far as poetry.
Right. And I'll put it out here right now. If there's any form of poetry that I cannot stand, it's the poetry that now emphasis more on performance versus I'll be straight. It's called slam poetry.
Right.
Sorry, I don't like it.
Don't like it.
But if there's a market for it, cool.
Right.
But I've always believed in writing the stuff down, fix that part first, versus always trying to put a performance behind it. I guess that's why some people call me old school. But that's what I still do. If it's poetry, I would worry about the poem first, and then just put the performance second.
Right. It's the material in the poetry, not necessarily how you're going to say it or how you're saying it. If you're saying it angry, but it's a nice poem, I think it can kind of confuse people opposed to just a reading where they can interpret what they want to.
Right.
Because it's about the words, not necessarily always the inflection or how you're saying it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there is some value, I think, to the slam poetry, but I can understand how it takes away from the actual words. So, are you a big reader? Do you still do you read a lot? Do you when you do this blog, do you try to look at other blogs, or what do you think it attributes a lot of the success to the Orlando Culture Shock blog that you have going now?
Well, what contributes? Well, part of it, I think, is me not reading other blogs. Well, no, on a serious tip, I don't read other blogs like I used to. I mean, I just don't have the time and just don't have the interest.
Right.
I mean, there's so many other blogs out there to read, and some of them just don't hold my attention like they used to.
Right.
But I think the reason that the Orlando Culture Shock has taken off beyond my expectations is because, one, it deals with the community. And the community always comes first in this blog versus a blog that's just about me.
Right.
So, and like you mentioned earlier, when people see themselves in the blog or they see a place that they recognize, they get more into it. Because sometimes when I would, recently I did a post about Ollie's Public House. Mm-hmm. It's a bar out here in College Park. Mm-hmm. Some people recognized, some people knew the spot, and so they reposted the blog on Facebook. And Facebook itself has helped the blog out a whole lot.
Yeah.
Because people repost it.
Right. So a big part of that success is definitely the social media and the ability to to get it all out there and for people to share it, because I think you're right. People do like to see themselves. They want to hear themselves. They want to see themselves. So it's a great thing you're doing. We're talking with, and thanks for being on the call today, Patrick. We're talking with Patrick Scott Barnes, a prolific poet, prolific blogger here in Orlando, Florida. We popped the website up there, but it's orlandocultureshot.wordpress.com. to get to that blog. You can comment, you can like it, you can share it, but most importantly, support the independent gentleman here who's going out and spending his dime to go out and document great things going on in Orlando. So our hats off to you, man. That's a great job on what you're doing, and we hope you keep on doing it, man.
Oh, yeah, I will. Thanks, bro.
Great. All right, Patrick Scott Barnes, go check him out. I'm JB Webb. Thanks for tuning in with us. We have more Orlando people and places and things to bring you. We're not done yet. We're still working, so hang tight, baby.